Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche and the Badass Buddha. And I am coming to you from a very chilly eastern Tennessee where it is like 39 degrees out there. It definitely took me by surprise when I let out my farm animals this morning, but it's beautiful. I'm not complaining. It's just spectacular. Although I heard we did get snow. We might have got snow in the higher elevations in the mountains. And I'm feeling that for the people who have no power still and no water, because this is just adding insult to injury. So I'm hoping they're okay. Good morning, everyone.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita from also a very chilly southern Connecticut. And that is very heartbreaking. Just the stories of everything that's going on. And it's a tearjerker if you really, especially if you know people in those areas. So thank you, badass.
And it's not just here. It's like now we add Florida again. So we had Florida with that other one, and then we had Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia. And now we've added Florida again because of the other storm. And it's just it's a lot, it's a lot for people to be dealing with. It's a lot for all these agencies that also do assist in this. And it's a lot because what do we have coming up? We're heading towards holidays, and there's people are helping, but then there'll be a point in time where they sort of want to get back to their normalcy. And for the people that weren't technically affected, that they will. But we have to remember that there's so many people out there that will not be having a normal Thanksgiving. They won't be having a normal Christmas. And the reality is that this could be our future. This could be a regular thing that we see, and we need to on the ones that are not as affected or not affected at all, discover how we can help and we can assist in that with individuals that are going through these things. And that's why today's conversation, it's called Things I've Learned. And Gladiator Guru and I, we're going to talk about this in a little bit after we do the mantra and set the intention. But we're going to talk about 10 things, right? Gladiator Guru, 10 things that we've learned. And then we want you to sort of think about that as well and chime in. I want to say good morning to Gail on Facebook and Gail on the Empowering Process podcast on YouTube. Hola Milagros is in the house. Nancy Green, good morning. We're happy that Nancy's here. Nancy's area did get affected. She's in the Tampa area, as did Gladiator Guru's niece and daughter. And it's just, like I said, it's a lot to take in, and there still could be more, All right.
That's the sad part.
Look at so Gail wrote, how can I help? How can I be more grateful? How can I bless my friends and family? And it's a rhetorical. You're not asking us to answer that. That's the question she's saying to ask. I'm assuming, right? If I know Gail correctly, is to ask oneself that, and it could be that you help a lot of people. It could be that you help one person that also can help other people. Like you just never know how far-reaching, and you never know how one person you help might affect others. So even with people like here, people who had space, who had water, they're bringing people into their houses. They're helping out. I met a guy that's been volunteering for the professionals group that we created, and he's a chiropractor in the next big town over, and his whole family got displaced. They were in Asheville, and he has a whole houseload of people that it's his children and their significant others and their kids and all that stuff. But that's a lot, and great that it's his kids, but it's still, there's no set time when they're going to go back, when they're going to be able to, there was a business loss, there was housing loss. So, and there's people that are taking in people that they don't even know, which is really, really wild. Good morning, Tiffany Bryan. All right, so you're on mute, Gladiator Guru, just in case you didn't realize.
Well, yes, I have little Mila that's soon to be 7 months old, but she's under the weather today.
Yes.
So she might be a bit fussy. So bear with me, mi gente.
Look at how great, so we get on camera, right? I was on, and then Gladiator Guru pops up, and she looks absolutely fabulous. And as usual, I'm just like, I look like I could just go clean the house or something. And
thank you.
You look good.
I'm going to accept that compliment.
Look at how good you look, though. I'm like, even that, look at that necklace. Like that thing is, that's new. You've never worn that. Did you make it?
No.
It looks like something you could make, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You made the earrings, though. She has her earrings.
Yeah, these are my earrings. I kill them.
I could have worn mine. I forgot. You got me some really pretty ones.
Yes, I could have. Good morning, Miggy.
Good morning, Miggy.
Yes, let's do the mantra. So bear with me, mi gente. I'm probably
look at Nancy
right now. She's
right. So Nancy wrote this. Community has really come together. It's been wonderful to see strangers are opening their doors. And I'm going to tell you, Nancy, that is one of the things that's on my list, like of what I've learned. So good morning to my sister. And look at Tiffany says, you always fabulous. Gladiator Guru always looks fabulous. That's right. Absolutely.
Gracias.
All right. So let's do our mantra. And let's set our intention, do our mantra, and then we have an announcement to make before we get started. All right, so let's set our intention. Be intentional today. We never know what the day is going to become, and so set your intention, knowing that you can always change the intention as things move along and shift. So but be intentional, be purposeful in your day. Have a reason to be doing what you're doing, and
do it in gratitude. If the universe, if the Lord, if whatever you believe in is trying to get your attention and how to live in gratitude every morning that you rise, it's all the happenings that are happening and you're still okay.
Yeah.
At your point where either you're sending care packages, you're rolling up your sleeves and you're getting in with the grind, or you're sending out prayer after prayer and you're forming prayer groups, whatever it may be, but you're able to do any and everything of that because you woke up today. So if there's anything that you should do intentionally, is be grateful and say thank you.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's do our mantra. Oops, I am trying to speak and work at the same time and type, and I am not apparently very effective at it. All right, here we go. Let me get that one in before we do any more. All right, let's say our mantra. Say it loud and say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous. My moño says it all.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ore.
And I keep it real.
All day, no doubt.
Your muño, you know what it looks like? It looks like a sloppy sumo wrestler. It's like the sumo wrestler was wrestling and it got all messed up.
It is sloppy. It's the most hair I have right now. No, and I miss my long hair. Remember when I used to do the 2 ponytails, the 2 braids, the one big bun up here? So you know what? It's so true when they say you never know how much you miss something until it's gone. But my hair is growing slowly but surely. The illusion of multitasking.
That's because I was trying to do my thing. Yes, thank you, Gail. Thank you for reminding me it's the illusion of multitasking. I'm still doing right now to get on our Facebook page. Hold on a second.
And thank you, Adult Peppers. If I had a bone, I was trying to find Savannah's flowers. I brought her from Spain, to clip because I was gonna do 2 of them, and that girl, she don't know what she did with them before she left to school. She's like, I don't know. Like, in other words, translate her toddler, I don't know, translate it into figure it out, Wela, figure it out. So here we are. And that's the gratitude that you could wake up and just appreciate life.
Yes, and with that, we do have an announcement to make. We meant to make it last week, but we kind of got to, or actually the last 2 weeks, I think, right? And Gladiator Girl had a lot of time of conversation in the time that we have not, that we weren't speaking, that we weren't on the show. Gladiator Girl and I still did a lot, and we were talking a lot, and we've had a lot of thought put onto this, and we went back and forth with this for quite some time. And we've opted to actually stop doing the show. And it's not that we haven't had fun doing it. It's just that the last 2 months for us have been really filled with tremendous growth, tremendous creativity. And we realized that sometimes it's a very hard shift to go from one thing to another. And our purposes have changed quite a bit. And we can't deny that fact that our purposes have changed. And, and again, we looked at it from so many perspectives. We thought, could we just last till May? Because that'll bring us to like the actual 5-year reunion. Even though we're in season 5, it'll be 5 years, May 11th. Do we hold out to that? Do we do it just once a week? Which is what we did switch to for this month. Do we go to the end of the year? And we went back and forth, contradicted ourselves numerous times over and over again. And we opted to actually just end at the end of this month, knowing that we could pop up like Slut Magic, that's Gladiator Guru's sentence, that we could always do a special night. We could pop in on a weekend. And we're never going to truly get rid of the show. We're just going to get rid of the frequency of the show. So we'll do specials. We'll pop up and we'll advertise specials. So maybe we'll do a special, a couple of times between now and the 5th year, because by that time, you Gladiator Guru, you're going to be back on the Camino, right?
Yes. I'm doing another Camino, Portuguese, the furthest one from Lisbon. So yeah. And it's heartbreaking, right? Because I just heard her say it and I had to mute because I'm like, oh my God, my heart. I felt my heart like.
Me too. Right when
I was conversation that we've had.
Yes.
And, when I first brought up the hiatus to the badass and her response, and it was like we both were at that place, but I guess we didn't know how to, I didn't want to bust no one's bubbles or take something away that. So when we were both in alignment with the decision, once we had the conversation, just like intentionally being grateful in everything you do throughout your day, beginning in the morning, this is also the Badass Buddha and I individually evolving. And the best part of what she said, the most hopeful part is we will be popping up like Slut Magic. And who's to say in here to 6 months, we're like, okay, let's get back to it. It doesn't matter if we do or don't. What matters is what we've done and the friendship we built. And you know what? We did make a list, which I can't wait to go through it. But se me fue el hilo de lo que iba a decir. The balloon slipped out of my hands. I don't remember what I was about to say. But all in all is, I think it takes courage. And we talk about being courageous and being ridiculously curious. And let me see what I have, what I got to do, and what's this and what's that. And that's what we're doing. We're going to live and what we've created in this last year, because both the Badass Buddha and I have been through tremendous changes. Me since December, you get off over one hurdle and it's like, surprise, there's Squiggy coming in with his little curl and there's a new thing happening, and so you have to adapt and then you have to figure it out and learn it, and then do what you got to do with it. And then that's one phase of evolvement, and then you go on to the next. And it seems every time it's like, well, what's that thing that they have on TV when they got to jump through this and run and do this? It's a show.
It's the American Gladiator, not the Gladiator. It's American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done a lot of that stuff. Fell on our ass a few times. Yes. Fell into the water. No, actually, ours is not really the Ninja Warrior. Ours is more like the Wipeout from the Japanese, Japanese series, where you have to jump over those things and you fall and you get knocked out and you get into the water. That's been more of our obstacle course. At least mine has been more of the Wipeout series. So if you've never seen the Wipeout series, go check it out, because that has been mine. That's been my path for the last X amount of years.
And I think it's been great. There's never Nancy, I love what you wrote. Thank you, because we've learned to love ourselves too. You know, sometimes it's like I say all the time, every day we're a student and every day we're a teacher. And I've learned so much from the show and all the stories. Hi, brother. That's my brother, Miguel. Everybody say hi. So I just think that when it's a privilege to be able to say, I want to evolve some more. I want to learn some more. I want to engage some more without feeling I'm tied down to this or tied down to that. And I think to come to that agreement, the Badass Buddha and I just think it's beautiful, because we're doing all these things, and not that Viva's any less, but you can't take everything with you. And I hope you understand. And then we're going to read our list of 10 things, ¿vale? Yeah. And then we would like for you guys to, in the 2 months of the Viva hiatus, what have you learned? And it's a lesson you could have learned 5 years ago, but it kicked in, and because that's how we learn. We don't learn on the spot. Like I always say, my brother's on here, that my father was a gardener of our roots. So he always planted seeds when we were young, and what the hell we want to listen to advice for, And it wasn't mostly until after his death that we were like, oh, this is what he was talking about. Those seeds started popping up and growing roots, like Carl Jung says that a tree be like a tree, because it's like the tree branches are reaching up to heaven as the roots are reaching down to hell. So it's and that's what the seeds present. So when you're sprouting, when it starts to sprout, the evolvement of life itself. So right now we can't control the evolvement of the world, of our nation. So let's do that within ourselves. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. I just wanted to share. Oh my God. Looking at the way I look with my double chin. That's just so lovely when I'm looking down at this. I need to do this when I'm on my, on the phone, on the Facebook page on the phone. Okay. I actually have 11.
That's fine, because I tell stories in between.
I was going to say you probably came up with 15, because you'll say 10. You'll say 10, and then you come up with I had 15. Okay. So I am in charge of my happiness and my path. Expect the unexpected. Be open to any and all possibilities. Don't assume. Trust in the process. Shift and flow. Follow my intuition. I had originally put trust my intuition, and I actually crossed it out and said, no, it's follow, because I trust my intuition. I just don't always follow it. But now that's not the case. Observe, use discernment, know my strength and resiliency, and believe in the power of the human spirit. And I don't want to get into all details about this. A lot of these I've practiced over the years and I've believed in, but I think since I've moved here, which today, by the way, is 1 year. I moved here officially with my 2 kids 1 year ago.
Wow. Yay. That's amazing.
I really learned that when you just trust in the process, and I've applied it. Let's put it that way. It's one thing to believe in things. Okay, that's the first step. But it's you also have to actually live it. You have to move, and that's really, I think, what the big shift for me was in the move down here, was finally allowing that to just play, and then being very aware of when I would resist it, and then watching what would happen when I did, and then just finally saying enough is enough. And the real shift for me was in the interim that we didn't have the show. So like in August, it was when I really started to put it into play and really, really live it. And so much has happened in the 2-month time frame. It's really crazy, and it's wonderful, you know. And it's and the other pieces that I also didn't put in there, but I'm such a firm believer of it, is accountability, being accountable to myself, because that plays in all of this as well. Like I have to own my shit, and I have to admit it and take responsibility, because that's the only way I can change it, is to own it, and then say, is this okay, or is this not okay? And if it's not okay, then what do I need to do to change it? Thanks, Nancy. Nancy's like, I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
Thanks, Nancy.
I think we all are. That was a big boom, I'm doing this and doing it. And then doing so much more and growing, and then doing it with a smile on your face throughout all this time, and learning and relearning and building decks and gardens and goats. So yeah, I'd say round of applause. That's really good. Your list was very fast. Mine is not. I did 10 and I did specifics, okay?
Oh, okay. So, well, I mean, we're not surprised. That's why I went through fast, so we could give, because I figured yours would be detailed, and I figured, let me run through mine quick so we could give her the rest of the show.
Oh, Marone, thank you. You know, a lot of the decisions we're making is because of the decisions we were forced to make. And then the decisions we had no choice but to make in our lifetimes. Yeah. And that we can still stand in it, whether we were happy about it or not, but that we survived it and we're here. And we know that with every adventure we go on, whether good or bad, I'm just going to say adventure, it's such a learning process, a growth process. It's a confirmation that you are supposed to be here, that you are where you're supposed to be, that you are not a mistake. So, I mean, all of that, you can't sit there in misery or what's happening now. You got to say, I'm still here with everything that's happened to me on purpose. So roll up your sleeves, put your big girl panties on, and let's figure out the whys and where you got to be. Sometimes we're not progressing. Why am I not growing? Because your ass ain't moving. Why are you still stuck on the 3rd floor apartment when you've been supposed to have moved to a 1-family house, but your fear and insecurities prevented you? And I'm just using the house because it's big. And
no, but that describes me. That's I was stuck. And
I'm not even talking about you. I was talking general, but okay. No, but thank you for your confirmation in the story, because people need to hear that.
I bet I could relate. That's what I'm saying. It's just, and it's a terrible, terrible place to be.
And we all know that I always say, walk your talk. Don't lie to yourself. Nunca te engañes. Why? Because you're the only one you're setting up for failure. And no matter how many fingers you point at other people that it's because of this, and that, it's ultimately your choice. So with that, that's why we made this choice, because we need it in our separate lives in order to constantly be like a tribe. So the average lifespan, they say, is 77, right? Pretty much 77.
I don't know. Is it changed? I guess so.
That's what I recently read, because I was looking it up. I'm about to be 56 next month. I don't have time to waste time. Yeah. You know, we think we always have time. We put it off until this happens, until that happens, or I'm here, I committed to this. And the one thing I learned this year is that I have made plans, commitments, and I have stuck to it. And it didn't feel like an obligation this time. Maybe because I put myself fully in charge. And that's something I learned in my winter Camino when I was out in Spain crossing the Pyrenees in December. So it's you learn so much about yourself, but that's not, we all can learn. We learn every day. It's what we hold on to, what we plant in our garden so that it can keep sprouting out lessons and reminders, right? So that's one of the reasons I'm happy where I'm at right now. So the things I have learned and come to understand during our hiatus that I learned from all of my caminos and all my caminos abroad and in life. One, people, places, and things can and will change in a heartbeat. So keep your sneakers ready. Two, yellow has been my favorite color. I just never admitted it. Follow the yellow arrows on the camino. I painted the studio floor yellow, and I put yellow socks on my grandkids, and I tell Savannah it's to have sunshine in your soul. So they love it. Okay. Three, I am patient, although I fight it like a but I guess I am. I have learned to become patient. How's that? Four, I enjoy spending time with myself. Even when I'm a bit angry, sad, or mad, I'm still my best company. Five, I really don't need much of any material possessions. And I'll put the biggest ones, house or a car. I purge down to the bare necessities and work with what I have. So most of my stuff, when I went to Florida a month ago, I brought all my jewelry back that I haven't been wearing for over a year. So 6, I miss sex. This is what I've learned, but not enough to make poor choices.
Yeah.
So I am very proud of my 5+ years of celibacy. So that says a lot. 7, I am my mother's daughter. As we grow older, we notice similarities. And we as we grow, we offer some of the same advice that we were given. So that was a hard pill to swallow for many reasons. 8, I will go and offer or just give hugs because I need hugs. And sometimes when we sit there, oh, nobody hugs me. Well, then go and give hugs. Go hug somebody because you get hugged back. So I learned that. 9, silence speaks volumes. So in our hiatus, I've learned that in my now, I am listening, observing, adapting, eliminating, trusting, surrendering, and making moves in silence. Because let's go rewind to when I said I made a list and mine is longer, and Badass Buddha says, what did you say?
I don't know. That I'm not surprised that your list would be longer.
I'm not surprising.
Yeah.
So that was so perfect when she said that, especially for number 9, because in this I have learned, it's not that I've never done it. We forget because we're so busy doing, right? So I have learned that silence speaks volumes, and sometimes it's just best to just observe. Has anybody lately been to a bookstore or a coffee shop and just sat and people watched? It's the most amazing thing. You don't need to have conversations with nobody. You can hear and feel their conversations, their body language, the way they look at each other. Or if someone else is sitting alone like you are having a cup of coffee, you can almost sense what they're feeling, what their thoughts are. So sometimes it's best to just be silent. And 10, I have learned that there is so much more of me to learn. To be vulnerable and strong is balance. To surrender to my Savior and trust His plan for me is eternal. I am learning to be less so that I may be more. If if that makes any sense to anybody. You know, more transparent, more flowy, Gail, more accepting. I have learned that I can walk 500 miles, sleep in rooms full of strangers, and sleep like a baby because of my faith in knowing that I am loved by Yeshua. That I don't want to be busy. I simply want to be. I have learned and lived that every beginning has an end for new beginnings. So surrender what you know for what you need and evolve. And full honesty of who you are. So you may become who you were born to be. Get out your own way, in other words. Y nunca te engañes. And if you are lying to yourself, stop. Wake up and tell yourself the truth of who you are, then grow, then evolve of who you're supposed to be or who you are meant to become. Get out your own way. That's one of the things I've learned. Get out of my own way. All those old ways of thinking, of maneuvering, of just doing things and the thought process of, you know, I had to get out of my own way so that I can be more accepting of the choices I've made. The commitment of renting a studio and helping raise the new grandbaby who's going on 7 months already. You know, although I committed, I was still like, everything bothered me. So I had to get out of my own way. I'm not speaking about something that sounds nice. I'm speaking about what I had to deal with since Salud. Remember, I had to leave Spain in December, and this is where I've been since. So there's a lot of adaptations, but here we are. And it was a beautiful decision. And I think that if you really honestly stand naked in your full body mirror and be honest with yourself, the changes are immense. What you're able to provide for others is immense while never taking from yourself. It's beautiful. My granddaughter sneezed. I gotta clean her nose.
So I just need to say something that notice Gladiator Guru said write 10 things, and I made a list. And based on not just the dress, like how we're both dressed today, it is evident who's the creative and who's the slob. Because even her list was absolutely beautiful and decorated and stylish and creative. It was poetic, and mine was just a list. Like, I was so proud of my list. And then I'm listening to Gladiator Guru's list, and I'm going, yeah, I'm so glad I went before her because my list wasn't that good.
Your list was beautiful, remember. You know what? This is the beauty. This is what I'm talking about, evolving. The Badass Buddha and I have been doing this show, 4.5 years now?
We're very different people, but the same.
And we are, but it doesn't negate the fact that we each have something so
my God,
important,
that's so funny,
so vibrant. And you know what's the most beautiful part of what we each have to share? Because it's the same
anymore.
message.
Listen, anytime after this, whenever we like Gail said, you know, we have a couple more shows left, but Gail said that we'll do like a feature movie, like that. We'll do a Viva feature movie here and there. I'm not going first anymore. I'm going to go after you, and then I'm going to like take notes, and then I'm going to beef mine up, and I'm not going to go before, because that was some good shit. Listen, that was some good shit, and I'm going, damn, like I didn't write it that way. You said make a list. I made a list, and yours was just like so beautiful.
Lists are boring to me, so I have to dress them up.
Oh,
but
my goodness.
It's the bottom line is to evolve, you know, and we're not giving up on Viva. We're just evolving. There are two very different ways of looking at it. You know, with the wedge in the window or the door that we have allowed to stay open a bit, because you never know, just in cases, you know, we come back, because there's always, or not back. I don't want to use that word back, but that we will see and feel a need. right now, the need that we must feel is within ourselves. So it's like the pouring of your cup. Sometimes we overpour and then we're left parched. And although that is not the case, but we're running low. So we have to go and we have to bask in who we are and what it is we're going to do. And we need to refill. And the thing is that while refilling, it's a different flavor. It has more electrolytes. And, so we need to gather that correct H2O so that we can propel and refuel ourselves in a manner that we're growing and we're still steadfast in our purpose. So slab, I don't get, Gail says slab, relax, down to earth, to the point. So we'll keep in touch. It's not goodbye. Yeah, absolutely, Tiffany. That, or Nancy, you know that again, for every beginning, there's an end for new beginnings. We don't know where's this going to go. We don't know if her badass story is going to continue in a way that the badass Buddha and I will take a hiatus from our personal lives and travel to meet every author. We don't know what can be in tomorrow.
Well, this is what
we're not going to do is put whatever may happen in a box. We're not doing that.
So Tiffany wrote, I would still love to meet my tribe one day. And then this is what I put. I said, Tiffany, maybe our feature special will be a Viva Live in-person show. We'll go. Wow. It's sort of like when you're on Broadway and it says the show is closing and then all of a sudden they pop up on the tours. It's like this so-and-so show, no more on Broadway, but now we're touring. So maybe we'll do it that way, and we'll go into different cities, and then we'll set up and we'll just pop up in some coffee shop, and they'll be like, what the hell are you doing here? We'll be like, we're here to do a show. And they'll be like, really? How could you imagine? We'll just show up with a crowd.
You never know. You and I think the beauty is that, it's always in the chaos that you find your calm. And although I cannot say that I'm in a season of chaos, because I'm not. I'm in a season of I know what I want, and this is what I got to do to get it, which is not much, really. It's really not much. When I tell you I sold my house and my car since I've been here, since December, has been in Florida, I haven't missed not having my own car. When I tell you that I am releasing material stuff, and I'm so happy about it. I share a bedroom with my 3-year-old toddler, who sometimes I wake up and she's right here in my face. You sleeping? Or get up. And that dragon breath is right there. That's how close she is to me. And I love it. And I have one half of the closet, and whatever doesn't fit, I'm either giving away or I'm throwing out, because I don't need much. I think the more we accumulate, it's like the more we accumulate material, the less we are in being. But that's just me. There's people who love things. Hey, to each its own. But I think that when you decide to be you in your true essence, it doesn't matter if it makes sense to anybody. Nobody needs to understand your life. You walk like Bo Derek on that beach. Whew, man, I'm aging myself. Or run like her, jog like her.
She was
with so much confidence and purpose. Probably
where Baywatch got that from. I think that's
where they got it from. And not giving a shit that she was back in that age with all them braids in her hair and that sexy bikini. Bo Derek to me was so beautiful. It doesn't matter how anyone else views you. The only thing I beg of you is to discover who you are and fight for that one. Fight for that girl to stay right here, up front and present, and be like, hello. Because that is who you are. Stop hiding in the shadows of who you truly are, because you're only making yourself miserable. Your unhappiness stems from the lack of choices you're making. So let's choose ourselves and let the chips fall. You got to roll up your sleeve and do hard work. It's not going to come easy, but just show up. I think that's the main thing, is showing up for yourself.
Yep. Yeah, definitely showing up. I mean, you know what? In the end, the truth of the matter is that life is we don't know. We're not guaranteed anything. This proof positive with everything that's been happening. And I have to admit, without sounding, I don't want to get into a whole conversation about this, but things are not going to get, quote, better or back to normal for quite some time. And I'm not just talking about, with all the devastation, with all these storms, we're coming into this really crazy election period. And there's just so much back and forth between both sides. And to be honest with you, I'm at a point where I kind of feel like neither of them are going to, neither side is going to do the job that needs to be done, because the job that needs to be done is us. We're the job that needs to be done. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to be a better version of ourselves, and then work together as a community. Because when you become a better human, and you also, go with discernment, and you go with compassion, you exude that energy, right? So we know that we're vibrational energy. So you exude that energy, and then that affects the people around you and makes them want to be a better person, makes them want to be a better human. And then it flows out into the community, and we're more effective as a community. We're more effective together. So that's what's really going to save us as a society is us working on ourselves, then being open to everybody around us, and then encouraging them to work on themselves, and then like locking arm in arm and saying, we're going to take care of this. We're going to fix these things ourselves, because we can't, that's the accountability piece that I was talking about. We can't look and wait for this person to fix it or that. And I got to tell you, Gladiator Guru knows she's been going through a lot with me with regards to the stuff that still connected me to my past, like where I left, and one of them is my rental property, and the idea of some of the stuff that's happening with regards to that rental property, and the entitlement, and it's just mind-blowing to me when I put it in a perspective, and without judgment. I'm looking at it through discernment today, right now, at this moment. Not always when I'm talking to Gladiator Guru about it. She hears the good and the bad coming out of my mouth. But it's more like, what's important to me is dealing with people who believe that they are entitled and they're owed, or working with and being around people who are so willing to give because they want to be a part of something. That's what I'm choosing. Because you have people in these areas that have been hit, that lost everything. And there's people that lost some things, and those people are still willing to help. I mean, imagine taking in people that when you have no water in your house, you're still taking in people. So it's really opened my eyes to really stop focusing and worrying about these other me people. What about me? How are you going to take care of me? I'm taking care of myself to be able to take care of other people who really need to be taken care of.
Yes.
We're all capable, like my daughter, my one daughter, she does have a learning disability. Like she's almost 21 years old, but she has a processing problem. Like it's been tested and everything. It's been written on paper. She can't process very well when she's spoken to. So she has an auditory processing problem. And so she has all these things in place for her to learn while she's in college. But then every so often she gives me a little pity party, and she says, I hate that I have to do this differently. And I hate that I have to learn differently than other people, and my disability and and I said to her, stop owning it. Stop saying my. I said, because Helen Keller couldn't hear. You could hear. Helen Keller couldn't hear. She couldn't see, and she was a bright,
and she couldn't speak.
Right, and she was a bright, educated individual because number one, somebody believed in her, and then number two, she believed in herself. And I said, so please don't sit there and use that as your excuse. You just have to find the thing that works for you to help you learn. And so I have to remind her, and then she gets out of that headspace. But we all have the capability. We're all resilient. It's just we get complacent. And I know, because I was one of those people. You get complacent and then you want to blame everybody else and you want to say that poor me, play the victim. Please, we have to stop doing that. We have to know our power and we have to say, how can I give back? How can I, and it doesn't have to be to like a cause specifically, but what I'm saying, I'm going to give back to the world, like to my community, to myself, to my family, my children. Start with being a beautiful human. Work on yourself. And it's always a constant work. Like I've seen Gladiator Guru change. Like we'll have conversation, and this is the same woman who when Savannah, who's now 4, right? Savannah's 4. When Savannah was,
she'll be 4 at the end of this month.
She'll be 4. When Savannah was newborn, like little, she would say things like, I'm not changing any diapers and I'm not that kind of grandma. And she would go into that, and she would, right. And then when you would babysit her, you always had Janet around. She always had her sister around. To
both of them.
And now she is like so ingrained in it. Like she'll be on the phone with me and she'll just stop talking to me and she'll be like, she'll start talking to the baby, and we do this and we do that. And I'm listening to that going, this is so cool, because she shifted on her own and she came in at a time, and this is so vital for her granddaughters. And I've said this to her, and she knows it. She didn't need to hear it from me, because she's a really good grandma. And she's like, I'm not that great. You've said that before, where you're like, oh, I'm not that great. I wasn't a great mom. I wasn't great. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you're fantastic, because you could see the way your children have grown up. You could see your grandbabies, all of them, even the adult grandbabies. But we have to come to that conclusion. And then it's nice to be reminded to say, look at you now and look where you were. It's like the same thing with my sister. I said to her, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, I said, did you ever think, if I said to you 4 years ago, you're going to be living in Eastern Tennessee with me and my 2 kids in a farmhouse with land and animals and not in California, she would have been like, you're crazy. I'm never leaving California. Always a big California person. But now she's like, I'm not even looking back. Like, I'm loving my life here. And we have to evolve and get to that point and live our happiness. Find our happiness, but live our happiness too.
Exactly. And do it while telling yourself the truth. See, I listen to people where I know, and then they're singing something different out their mouths. And some people, I don't give a shit. Some people, I'm like, why the hell you're lying to yourself? I said, who you been telling them stories to? Because you are saying it like you believe that bullshit and you know it's a lie. And sometimes I really do try to hold back, but then I'm like, fuck it. It's just not my character to hold back, especially when it's somebody that I love, that I'm saying, why are you still walking this path? Why are you lying to yourself? And then why are you lying to me when I know the truth, which but back to my grandbabies. You're absolutely right. After Eric died, I spent 6 years being a 24/7 caregiver. And then I traveled. And then my mom got sick.
Yep.
And I'm like, Maron, how many assignments am I going to get, And I said, that's what I get for calling myself the Gladiator Guru. Like, okay, she wants war. Let's give her war. And but then now I sit here with Mila Capri is her name, who's going to be 7 months. And I'm like, how grateful of a life, how grateful I am of the life that I was allocated, right? Because we're given such beauty and such priceless gems, and then we make the wrong choice, and then we become victims of the choices we made, but we blame everyone around. Whole other subject, but that little Henny just turned 18 on Wednesday. He shares my mom's birthday. So you got Naya that's about to be 22. Little Henny just turned 18. In February, Isaiah turns 15. This month, on the 27th, Savannah turns 4. And I'm saying, and Mila is still under a year old, but I'm saying I have had the privilege of living with each and every one of my grandchildren. I moved to Florida in 2006 when little Henny was about to be born, so that I can do exactly what I went there to do, which was to be his nanny, his granny nanny, while Tiffany finished school. So there was Anaya and little Henny. Isaiah lived in my home in Florida with his parents for 6 months when he was 2. So I really got to see that little toddler in him. And then here I am with Savannah and Mila. And it's like, hola, Pila. And it's like, what a privilege.
Yes.
That has been bestowed upon me, that I can grow old and says, I have lived, especially in those years, those really, really important years that they have at the stages in their lives. So yes. And so evolve, mi gente. It's going to be 9:00 and we really got to cut it right at 9. So the word of the day is a sentence. Seek your true self and evolve. Allow yourself. Give yourself permission to spread your wings in whatever direction you want to go.
Perfecto. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. We will see you next week. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste.